It is Sunday, July the 17th here in the garden, right? Isn't that right, Susie? July 17th? What do you think? Okay, we'll call it July 17th. It's July 17th. Hello there, peeps. It's time, well, it's past time for a total garden overview, so let's get started. And like I was saying before, I've just let things grow up and I've been clipping grass around and about and trying to keep it beat down enough to where everything else has a chance to grow. And yeah, I've waited so long here for this overview that a lot of my stuff has already passed its prime, such as these squash plants here, that one there especially. But I have got quite a few squash off of it. I've probably ate like oh, I don't know, probably 10 messes of squash off of these plants already. And I actually planted some secondary ones. This is where I pulled up the tomatoes that started blighting. Really right around June the 16th they started blighting. So the first two that blighted, I pulled them up and planted this. I didn't think they were going to come up, but yeah, they're already doing pretty good here. And as far as tomatoes and blight goes, yeah, they're not looking so good. As you know, I put plastic around two of them. I went ahead and took plastic off of this one here because it really wasn't working out. The plastic does not work out as well as what I would like. But let's just take a look at how much blight is already in here. There will definitely be no new tomatoes formed, and hopefully I'll you know, be able to salvage the majority of the larger ones of what you see right here, although the quality is usually reduced just a little bit. And as I was saying, this just didn't work out as well as I had hoped. Let's just take this one off. It's just, I've been planning on taking it off. I'll show you down in here first. And yeah, there's blight. It doesn't eliminate the blight, but it does slow the blight down, but still not too much of a solution. The downside is, of course, it really is, even at 85 ambient temperature, it must be 100 degrees in here. This, when you put this plastic on here, even if it's getting pollinated by bees, it will not set fruit. It just will not set fruit in it that hot in there. So yeah, it's just not the solution I'm looking for here. We'll take this off so you can sort of get a general idea of what we're talking about here. So yeah, so as you can see, I mean, it does slow the blight down compared to that. But yeah, it's there, and it won't set any additional fruit, I don't think, that will mature, because the blight will wind up getting it first. And I'll show you the tomatoes in a little while down there on my trellis, which they're in better shape blight-wise, but I'm still having problems with blight on them. Up here on the cantaloupe right here, it's maybe hard to see because we're talking about green vines against green grass, but I've been trying to keep it clipped out. So we got 2 hills of cantaloupe, and up there we have 3 hills of watermelon. And I never have successfully grown a watermelon, but I think I'm going to this year. The cantaloupe is not quite as good, but let's see here. All right, here is my biggest cantaloupe right here, and you know, it may wind up making an edible cantaloupe. Who knows? What I'm going to do here shortly is take my bigger ones, such as that, and I think this is the biggest one right here. And what I do, I read this a long time ago, to keep them from having too much of an earthy taste, and maybe keep them from rotting. Rotting, whatever. I take a tin can and I set them up on a tin can, and it seems like it's worked reasonably well in the past. There's another one there. So maybe I'll have a cantaloupe or two. Now we'll get up here and look at the biggest watermelon, which, like I say, I never have really grown a successful watermelon, but here's my biggest one, second biggest one right now, so it's getting there. And here is my biggest one. So yeah, it's a pretty good size melon. And unfortunately, I got all mixed up on what kind I planted, where I planted them. So I got 2 or 3 different kinds. As you can see, this one here is a different shape. Those were more roundish, and this is more it's almost like a gourd, but it's not a gourd, of course. It's a watermelon. And here is definitely the biggest one. This is kind of your traditionally shaped watermelon here. If you can see it, the sun is creating some pretty severe shadows here. But that's a pretty good size watermelon. I think I'm going to make some watermelon this year. Here's the cucumbers. The cucumbers, man, my voice is kind of breaking. The cucumbers have really done great this year. We've had a lot of rain. Cucumbers require just a tremendous amount of rain to do well, really, because when you're watering them, you can come out here and water, and the next day, if it's an 85-degree or more day and no rain, they'll just be dry as a bone. But yeah, I've got just tons and tons of cucumbers off of these. I think they've slowed down on their production a little bit, but they will still make quite a few cucumbers yet. I don't even see any right now, but they're in there. I know they're in there. Come on, where's me a cucumber? We gotta show cucumber for the YouTube people. Okay, there we go. Yeah, dig in here. There we go. See, I told you there was cucumbers in here. And that one there is just about right. I like to not let them get too big. And okay, that's pretty much done. There's my compost. I just covered that one up. It just now got ripe, we'll say. So that's my compost for next year right there. Got a pretty good chunk of it in there. We've had so much rain, it composted out, you know, like a couple of months quicker than it usually does here, because my compost generally don't compost that rapidly. Hello there, snoozers. Okay. And this right here, right next to my compost pile, is yet another anti-blight experimentation. Probably will not bear fruit, but what it is, I took this black landscape fabric, put it down on the ground first, and then planted a tomato in the center of it. Took this floating row cover, spun bonded polyester type material, put it over the top, and yeah, I've got some of these little steel hook type things that go into the ground just to get it up off of the plant a little bit. And it's pretty small, right? The plant's pretty small right now. And when I first put it on here, I had it doubled, and it was really just too hot underneath here. It just about cooked. Well, there's a couple of plants there, maybe 3. These plants here are the same thing I've got down on the trellis, the burpee hybrids. All I did was just root a couple suckers in the sand, and they did just fantastic. But then I let them stay in the sand a little too long, so they were a little slow. And then when I first did this, like I say, I doubled this spun bonded polyester, and it made it way too hot under here, and it about cooked them. I did have 4 in here, and I think a couple of them's died, but well, we'll see what they'll do. And I'm just going to let them, since I've got the black landscape fabric, I'm just going to let these plants, assuming they grow and do anything, I'm just going to let them sprawl out on the ground and see what happens. And if you used to lift weights and no longer lift weights, don't throw your weights away. They're always helpful to use them and weight stuff down. Onto the peppers. Peppers are doing really well. It seems like almost everything in the garden is maybe not pollinating quite as well as usual this year. And I've noticed even less honeybees, fewer honeybees than normal. So yeah, we are in a severe honeybee shortage in this country, I think. But anyway, this is, let's see, as I've shown a time or two, super heavyweight bell pepper, and it already has a pretty super heavyweight one on it, right there. And right as we come down here, this is another bell called a YOLO Wonder. And right here, I've not ate any of the, I haven't ate any of the bells. I'll prefer to let them turn color. And same here, I'm gonna let these turn color. This is Anaheim chili. And these are just hanging full. I don't know if you can, how much you can see. Let's see if I can get a good cluster of them here. Oh yeah. Yeah. We see you, Susan. We see. We're aware of your presence. Well, I'm not sure how good it's showing up, but this is just really full of these Anaheim chilies, which will turn color eventually. And then I'll eat them. Now I've been eating about one of these per day. This is the hot banana peppers, and they finally really started to put on a pretty large amount of production. So maybe the honeybees did get in here pretty good. It don't seem like the honeybees got on my tomatoes all that well, even the ones which weren't covered up down there on the trellis. I've been doing a little bit of manual pollination on them. Maybe I'll show you my contraption I've been pollinating with. Okay, I saw one video when I was checking out about tomato pollination that said a toothbrush, an electric toothbrush, was good to pollinate with them. So I took it one step further, and I took one of these gardening stakes, one of these green gardening stakes, which are available just anywhere, and I taped my toothbrush to the end of it. And not only did I tape my toothbrush to the end of it, I got some tubing here, and I taped the tubing to the gardening post here, and left extra, oh, I don't know, 3 foot there on the end. Anyhow, I blow through the tubing there, and it's best when you're blowing through a tubing like this, unless you want to pass out, don't strain yourself too much. Kind of fill your cheeks up with air, and let your cheek muscles be doing the air movement rather than your lung muscles, or you're gonna just fall off of your pedestal there. Okay, so I will show you how this little thing here works in action. And I'll put a link to the video about the tomato pollination on the bottom. They only mentioned use a toothbrush, so I just took it to the next level. As Random Writings would say, I took their idea and I just blinked it up a little bit. Okay, let's pollinate, and keep in mind I do blow through the little tubing as well. I'm gonna think an awful big bee came and pollinated. Of course, size doesn't matter, so to say. Okay. Anyway, that's it for the main garden, what I always refer to as the main garden. And we shall go down and check the secondary garden. I don't know what to call it. But anyhow, this is where I did so much work on the tomato trellis in the hopes that everything would have enough air circulation where it wouldn't blight. But I keep having to come down here and cut out limbs out of these tomatoes which have blighted. But this was supposed to be a breed of tomatoes that gets maybe even 2 pounds. And I believe it, Burpee hybrid of some sort. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. And yeah, I don't like having all this bare stuff here because your tomatoes can get sun scald. But I really didn't have any choice. If you don't trim the blight out a little bit, it just shoots through it in record time. And this right there, that's blight. All this stuff here is blight a little bit. Oh yeah, here's a good example of some blight right there. And I don't know, it's just a matter of coming down here every few days and trimming out a few limbs and hoping it doesn't progress too far. But as far as the trellis itself, I've been extremely pleased at how the trellis has worked. If it hadn't been for the blight, I would have done just fantastic down here. But as it is, I probably won't do all that well. I don't know if it'll make very much more than what you see there hanging on the lower part. And I do have a couple of small ones on the mid range here. I think what I really ought to do is try to plant down here like really early and cover them up, and then maybe if they get up tall enough quick enough and I cut the lower branches quick enough, maybe I won't have so much blight. Who knows? It's just about a losing battle here on the blight. But what I do, I got these little clips here which are removable, and they're removable just like so, and you can reuse them. Now, one thing about these little clips here, somehow or another they're actually designed to work with a certain size of twine, which I don't have. If you get the right kind of twine with these, then you can clip it onto the twine and secure the plant at the same time, and then your plant, won't be moving back and forth like that. But yeah, I've got this thicker type of stuff, so I couldn't do that. So therefore, near the bottom here, what I like to do is take garden tape. And when you use the garden tape around here, it's a little aggravating to use, but it secures your plant, from left to right real good. It's not going to do any sliding. So low down when you first start training your stuff to the trellis, you really need to use just the garden tape to get it good and secure. Otherwise, your main stems are going to be rocking back and forth. And then you can use just a bunch of these suckers, which I really like. Okay, moving on. Here is my okra, which is looking fantastic. It is right now about 2 feet tall. So I am going to have, and there's like 64 plants, I counted them. I planted them 2 feet apart this direction, and the rows are 2.5 feet apart in that direction approximately. So yeah, just super healthy looking plants there. And let's see, I think you can see it's got little bitty buds here that'll eventually be okra. Good stuff. Okay, that's long enough here. Yeah, as I always say, I'll try to do the next update a little bit quicker. I don't need to wait till after frost. I need to do it while I still actually have a garden out here this year. All right, bye everybody.